Hello and welcome to Community Conversations. I'm your host, KK Konashiro. Every spring, the Fremont Unified School District accepts the challenge of selecting just one educator as its Teacher of the Year. Each of the district's 42 schools annually nominates one teacher they feel that serves, supports their students, and strives to fulfill the district's mission to educate, challenge, and inspire. And out of another outstanding pool of candidates, we are happy to welcome Fremont Unified's 2018 Teacher of the Year, Sherea Westra from Niles Elementary School, to talk about her award and her career, along with her principal, Diana Brumbaugh. Thank you so much for being here. This is so exciting.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Now, we've worked together in the past,
Yes.
and you always had this fun job with Fremont Education Foundation where you got to award. So having this award given to you, how does that feel? Because you're so used to giving and now you have to be the recipient. That's got to feel weird, right?
It is a little weird because
Yeah.
it's like planning the gala for the Fremont
Right.
Education Foundation, but I'm not the one yet ordering the plaques
Right.
and writing up speeches. So it is a little bit weird being on the receiving end, but it's definitely something that I appreciate from Ms. Brumbaugh nominating me
good.
and from the whole panel then picking me. Something I take very seriously, and it means the world to me because I love this district and love my job so much. And
Yeah, you're just doing your job and it's like,
yeah.
I'm getting an award.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's like, don't all teachers do this?
Yeah, exactly, right. So what has your reign been like so far since you've been notified that
It's
you are?
been a little weird. I think leading up till tomorrow night, which is when the county has their event, has been a little bit like I should probably be preparing like what I might say for that 1-minute speech I have to give tomorrow night. But there's a lot of paperwork involved, so it gave me a time to really reflect on
Okay.
my practice and what I'm doing in the classroom.
So what do you mean by paperwork? Like applications?
Oh yeah, so once
Okay.
you get chosen, then you have essays to complete,
Wow.
prompts. So I think by the time I turned it all in and got letters of support from Ms. Brumbaugh and Dr. Wallace and one of the student surf students who I had as a former student,
Yeah.
I think it was like 24 pages. It was pretty daunting, but it was really reflective, and it was neat to share it with other people and like bounce ideas. And no, you did this too. Don't forget that. Or no, you need to make this sound better. Or don't forget to capitalize. But it's really neat. It's just been really sweet, and being at different district events and people kind of knowing that like, hey, yeah, you're the teacher there. Yeah.
Now tomorrow night, how many other districts are involved in? How many in Alameda County?
I don't know how many
there a
districts.
lot?
It's interesting you asked because I was trying to think about that today. How many districts there are in Alameda County, and I honestly don't know.
Okay,
Unless
So
it's
there's
close
gonna
to
be
20 maybe?
20?
That's
15?
yeah, probably.
So 20 Teachers of the Years from the different districts.
Possibly,
That's amazing.
possibly.
Yeah, if they did it right.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
This
So-
is going to be my first time going to
Yeah.
this, so I don't know.
Yeah,
Have you
I've been
before?
twice.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so it's a really neat night to see, all the people across the district, or all across the county that
Right.
are doing wonderful things.
Right. So when it was announced, how did you find out? Was it in front of your classroom? Was it
No.
in private with your principal?
No,
or
it was
how-
in the room right in front of you, to the left of us. The room was packed, and they have where every teacher of the year comes, and they have like a ceremony, I guess you would call it, that the FSMA, the Management Association, puts on. And so HR and I don't remember who else, Dr. Wallace, they present the final 6. We have 5.
It was 5.
Yeah, so once you get nominated by your principal,
Yeah.
then if you make the final group, you get an interview. So I had to be interviewed because I got picked as one of the finalists. And then when you come to that event, you're all just sitting in a room full of hundreds of people. It's packed. And then they announce it. And that's the first
you
time.
didn't know prior to her winning then.
I did not.
So you both found out at the same time. How
I
exciting
knew
was
we
that?
knew we obviously knew she was a finalist.
Yeah.
So
But
I didn't
still,
know. Oh yeah.
One of my
Yeah.
own, guys. Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it was neat.
It was really
So
fun.
how'd your classroom take it?
They were very excited.
yeah.
Yeah, they were
that was
very
probably
cute.
to me that was
They were
a highlight.
Even
for
this
sure.
year, even
Yeah.
yet today, one of the kids like, well, that's because you're teacher of the year. Every time I say that, oh, that's because you're teacher of the year.
Yeah, they're not going to let you live
Yeah,
this down.
no,
Yeah,
no.
we've got bragging rights.
Yes,
right?
yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure.
Even though, all of our teachers are absolutely phenomenal here in the Fremont Unified. We are so lucky to have these teachers. And you know the talent out there. Was it intimidating?
It was. Last year was my first year back to the classroom.
Right.
After being the president of the Teachers Association. And during those 4 years, I got to know a lot of dynamic teachers. And the ones I didn't meet, I knew were just as dynamic because, and I know the leadership at the school sites are just, it's such a instructional focus of teaching and learning that's happening at the elementary schools and the secondary schools.
Right.
And so to come back and to then be recognized when I know there are dynamic people out there doing great things, and to watch, they show a little slideshow that one of the principals does, and they show all the teachers of the year, and it's like, oh, that's that teacher who I have talked to before about you know, this situation, or who I worked on a committee with. Just some really dynamic people, and I know former recipients of being honored, and so it's just a great company to be in.
I bet, but still, I'd be intimidated.
It is. It was, well, yeah.
So, speaking of which, since you segued into that, because you went from the District Teachers Association to now a teacher, how was that transition? Was that easy? Was it, oh, I have to remember how to do this now, or how did that go?
Yeah, it was a little harder than I had thought. I was really, though, intent on setting up the classroom environment to be really successful for kids. The great thing about being away from the classroom was 4 years is I could visit lots of classrooms and see what with the great work that we're doing out there, that teachers were doing, and then just do a lot of studying up of when I go back. So I kept a journal of everything I like, hopes and dreams of when I go back to the classroom. And the first thing was setting up that classroom environment to make my community of learners safe and to feel supported and to have the families engaged. And so that I think I'm pretty good at with relationship building and building those relationships with community members in general. So once I had that, it's just learning the content. And, I had 5th grade before, this was 3rd grade last year. And so, just going back down to a level that's a little lower, 2 grade levels. But the Common Core standards were new to me. The next generation.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we didn't have that 4 years prior.
Wow.
Yeah, next generation science standards were new.
So what did you have to do? Did you have to go back to some kind of training? Or how does that work?
Not really.
No.
I just read a lot.
Okay.
Bought a lot of things online. The best thing would be the professional learning communities that I participated in last year, and I know as a host, you probably you know a lot about those. But I worked really closely with one of my 3rd grade colleagues right next door in the portable, and we did some dynamic work together looking at student learning and where they needed to go. And I think just having those colleagues to support was great. And then I have other 3rd grade teachers we would meet across the district.
Oh, nice.
A handful of us. And so what are you doing at your school?
Right.
And what are you doing in your classroom? Yeah. And so I think the collaborative nature that I look for in my colleagues, I was able to find, and that's very important to me. And so having that saved me time and time again.
So, Miss Principal.
Yes.
You have so many teachers that are so talented just in your own school. Did you have your own committee in your school to choose or nominate certain teachers, or how does that work? Or you guys just thought, Sherea, and that's done, we're done?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, each year we nominate somebody, and so it's the principal's choice, but I often kind of check around with people, and but it was pretty evident from the get-go. And when Sherea talks about setting up her classroom, for example, seeing that, and I've known her for years, knowing how involved she is in the district community and the city community, and then in addition to that, being so competent and caring in the classroom, it was, to me, a no-brainer. And I feel so fortunate to have been at a school that was the school she returned to after being the association president. And she's exactly right when she says she had so many ideas, and you could tell she was just so eager to put them into place. And her classroom is just, visiting it, you get within a minute.
There.
You just, oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. So.
That's great.
Yeah.
So do you think you would be willing to share some of these classroom setups? Because to me, I walk in and you have your desks and you have the shelves with all. I mean, I wouldn't know what's so different from your class setup from a normal classroom I've seen.
I really try to just make it home, away from home, because I'm there a lot. So I want it to be a place where I like to be, and I love the 4 walls of P5, and I want it to be a place where the kids love. So I have a pretty big classroom library with what we call comfy chairs. So baskets that we've turned into some comfy chairs. We last year had bean bags and some other pillows and things. This year I'm doing some flexible seating, which a lot of teachers are trying out. So we have big balls that they could sit on, wobble chairs, things like that.
Fun.
A lot of group work, a big area in the front for kids, even though they were this year I have the same group, fourth graders, but last year third grade. Where they sit down and no, you're not big enough to sit on the floor. We're all going to sit on the floor. We have, so a lot of things you'll probably find, but I just want to make it student engaging and bright and colorful. And, I have
everything's
just
approachable.
superheroes of reading corner.
Wow.
So
very cool.
Stolen from the gala theme.
That's okay.
but so just some neat things. One thing I did last year, we read the book and we were working on character education. And so we read the book, How to Fill Buckets or Bucket Fillers. And so every kid has a bucket, and it's how we've been modeling. We fill people's buckets. We don't dip into them. And so they all write compliments to each other and appreciation. So they all have, we used to have little buckets, and now the buckets literally had to buy bigger ones.
That's
because
the one thing I noticed this year. I joked, I'm like, you have bigger buckets this year. Is it because they're fourth grade now?
Yeah. They just really embrace it, and I don't think we give feedback enough to each other as adults, let alone kids to kids and kids from me to the kids and the kids to me. And it just lifts some of those kids' self-esteem up that need it, because at home sometimes they don't get it, or if they do get it at home, to get it from a peer just is so meaningful. And so
absolutely.
And I get them. I have actually my own bucket jar
nice.
that I've kept every single one I received last year.
Oh, that's great.
It's really special.
So I got to ask you one more question, because at the district, or the association, is it the association?
Teacher Association,
Okay. You work with more adults. Here you've got a classroom of kids. Have your hours changed, or they're the same? Who gave you more hours?
Good question. I would say I felt a duty when I was representing members, because they paid dues.
Right.
I felt like I was on the clock 365 days, 24 hours a day. If HR called me on Labor Day, I picked up the phone. So I felt a little bit more of that, like, no, this is their dues, making, allowing me to have this position. With the classroom, I am up pretty late. I am a night owl, as Miss Brumbaugh will probably attest to with my late night emails and her early morning emails, which I'm not.
I'm the morning person, and she's, so our email times are hilarious. I like pull her up.
But I would say I do a lot of student guided work in the room, where the students really own a lot of what we're doing, especially this year. So it's we work together so much in the room. The kids want to stay in, and I'm like, no, go outside of recess.
Compliment, though.
And get some fresh air, but they want to help so badly, and it is extremely helpful. So I would say they're both very time consuming. Learning a new grade level, I think, is what's really hard, is learning all the new material. And it's just takes time.
Now, do you get to choose next year to keep in the same grade level, or is it the principal's choice or decision?
So an interesting thing happened this year, because we have a certain grade level where there are 4 classes versus 3. They've been moving on from 3rd to 4th.
Okay.
So we needed somebody to shift to 4th grade this year. So Sherea suggested this possible program called looping, where she maintains the same students in the subsequent year.
Right.
So this year she has the same students she did in 3rd grade, and there's a lot of research to support the positive benefits of looping.
Well, consistency.
So,
I get my same teacher.
But I will say that another wonderful thing about Sherea is she is very positive and always willing to help. So from a principal's perspective, it's so lovely, because she's like, where do you need me? Where do you need me? And she's always willing to volunteer for things in leadership positions, but in the case of classroom placement, she's always like, where do you need me? But this worked out
in
both ways. So for having to learn all the new
like you said. But but I have a great grade level team this year. Like it's rocking. We're doing great things. So it's good. It's all good.
But from your perspective, she must be like giving you a little second to breathe, because she took over something and you don't have to worry about it. Yeah, right?
Yeah, she's a dream teacher for a principal, for sure.
Thank you.
Congratulations. It's so awesome.
You.
So explain tomorrow night, we all get dressed up, you go, you are our teacher, right, from our district. So you're just going to get an award, right?
So my understanding from the emails I've received from the county, they're very, very thorough. It's been great. That from 6 to 7 is mingling and appetizers, and then from 7 to 9 is the program. And so every honoree, or I guess person from their district, has a little video montage they're doing or something like that. I got videotaped, and then I had to do an interview with somebody, so I'm assuming they're taking that and putting something together. And then I have to come up on stage and give a 1-minute speech. Then that's at 8:18. Not 8:20.
You can do this. You've done so many speeches.
Yeah, so I do that, and then based on what I've been before, at the end they announce the county. Or sometimes, one year there was 2, so they'll announce the one, and that's it. But I have friends and family coming, and it's just going to be a fun night and fun weekend just to celebrate. And the next day, thank you, I still get up and I'm still Sherea and teaching those 4th graders. So
we'll all get up Friday morning.
That's right, and do our thing. Yeah. So, yep.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you, KK.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Nice to see you again. And you too.
Thank you. Yes, you too.
From everyone here at Community Conversations, we appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.